Let's go. Is Carson Beck really the best quarterback in the SEC?
I'm definitely having a lot of fun.
This spring game performance was up and down, 29 of 46, 300 yards, a couple of TDs, also a couple of INTs. I don't know. You guys tell me, do you believe Carson Beck is the best quarterback in the Southeastern Conference? I think if you ask most people, they would say yes. So let's do a film study on how this spring game actually worked out. And we start things off with what was a really good day defensively for the former five-star Janelle Aguero. This is an absolutely ridiculous play by him. But I also think this route, I'm kind of in the middle on how I feel about Dominic Lovett. I think many are projecting him to be the best wide receiver on Georgia's team. He did have over 100 yards, so about a third of the team's production through the air. But you see pre-snap, Aguero shifts to an inside leverage alignment. That obviously changes things for a receiver here. And this route to me, I know he played a lot. He could have been tired, but I felt this route was a little bit lazy. I know it gets cut off here. It looks like he's not going at absolute full speed, if you ask me. And then to fight back for this football, Aguero just out-hustles him, and this just looks very casual to me. We get the second down, and we're just going to focus mostly on the in-game situations for Carson Beck. Once again, he's thrown 2 INTs in this game, and Georgia has 2 deep safeties right here. So Beck knows it's highly unlikely you're going to get something deep completed. And if they're going to sit all the way back, why not hit your check down? Etienne, who had a really, really good day. I know off the field, it's been a brutal start to his Georgia career. But the bottom line is he has a lot of juice, man. Jukes the living daylights out of this corner and almost breaks this tackle for a first down, and it sets up third and manageable. Obviously, I want to treat this as much as a game-like situation. It is ones versus ones, but I doubt Georgia would be doing this much formational shifting if they are down by 4, knowing that they still need to score a touchdown to win this game. So, once again, it is just a spring game, nothing to overly freak out about. But I'm going to tell you this. This next throw is one of the more impressive throws. And Carson Beck, if you just factor in what he does in the pocket, he probably is the best quarterback in this draft class. So what you're going to see here is very nuanced. It's really tough to pick up this kind of stuff unless you're watching it in slow motion. So what you'll see here is Carson Beck elects to go to this side of the field, okay? It's a 2-high safety look here, and it's just straight man coverage across the board, right? So Carson Beck sees that it's man coverage, and on the snap before, he hit his swing out route for a nice gain on second down. Where Carson Beck wants to go with this football is actually right here. So the first thing I want you to do is take a look at the protection. Protection here is okay, but number 11, who ends up making a really good play, Walker, gets some pressure, but it's not really a whole lot. So protection here is fine. But I want you to see what actually happens here. All right. Carson Beck actually fakes like he is throwing this football out into the flat so he can move number 5 out of this throwing window. It's really impressive stuff because Beck knows if you throw this football here, it's not a guarantee this is going to be a first down. But if you throw it past the sticks, it is going to be a first down. So Beck sees that Ainias Smith is creating some separation right here. And watch what he does. His head is actually facing Etienne, the running back out of the backfield. His left lead foot is also facing Etienne. But watch at the very last second, it's kind of a no-look, look-off kind of throw. He's looking now at Smith. That is ridiculous pocket mechanics and work, and Smith doesn't finish it. It's a nasty drop. So now it sets up 4th and 3. So I had Andy Staples on one of my other channels recently. We talked about how freaking good Kirby is as a coach, right? Yes, he's got the best players, but schematically, they are just so far ahead of everyone. I want you to take a look at the leverage right here on this DB. So he is on the outside of this hash, and Beck's number 1 target right here, Lovett, is on the hash. So, yes, there is a safety right here capping potentially an inbreaker here, but Carson Beck at the snap has to like this leverage right here to the field. but this linebacker also being pinned this far on the opposite hash. So pre-snap, you have to like the slant. But what happens here is Walker, who just had a good bull rush on the snap before, actually backs out and gets into this passing lane and makes his play. And it's a good simulated pressure. You're actually bringing pressure here. You're twisting this DT around. And Walker does a good job selling like he's going to go, but watch him back out. So, boom, he stops. Beck is liking this slant. He thinks everyone is rushing. Linebacker vacates the middle of the field, but the QB spy makes the play, and it actually should have been picked. So you'll see that the separation is there from Lovett, right? But that's just a good play right there by Walker. It really, really is a masterful defensive call on fourth down to turn him over. Good news is the Georgia defense was able to stop Gunnar Stockton, hold him to a field goal after this fourth down stop. And Carson Beck had a chance to go back out there and take a look at his stats. This is just not good, right? So before we break down this final drive, I'm a huge Carson Beck guy, and I believe there is a chance to make money with his sports cards.
I think joy and happiness and doing things you like is important.
So I'm a sports card collector, dealer, flipper, and I have teamed up with nooffseason.com. And yeah, I mean, there are so many great Georgia college uniform cards that are out there that will go up in price before the season. Earlier in the game, Carson Beck did throw an INT, and it was something kind of similar to this, right? He had a shorter completion over the middle. As you can see, his team has all three of their timeouts. And overall, if you have the chance to hit the shorter thing over the middle instead of the deeper thing over the middle, sometimes I prefer to just hit the shorter thing because, you know, you could bait yourself into throwing INTs. And that's how, you know, C.J. Allen was able to pick off Carson Beck a little bit earlier in the game. The second thing here is because this is a longer developing play versus his zone coverage, you'll see that the twist actually gets home. So this actually would have been a sack right here by, I believe, Chambliss, however you pronounce it, on the twist. And this should have never gotten home. This is going to piss off Kirby in a major way. Obviously, Cedric Van Pran is no longer the center at Georgia. There is no reason for him to be over here on the 3-tech DT going through the B gap. He has got to be catching this twister right here, but instead he gets caught up with the DT, and the twisting end is able to get a free shot right here on Carson Beck. So protection breaks down, and this right here needs to be thrown. In an actual game, he's not actually getting this off to Lovett. Or that's bang bang. He might be getting that off to Lovett. He's definitely not being able to step into it with that much confidence unless he just wants to absolutely get destroyed. So once again, not the absolute most game-like scenario you will ever see. And the second thing here is I'm a little shocked that this backer got so far stacked over here. The alignment here, this looks like more of a defensive bust, if anything. So it's a poor defense as well from Georgia. Looks like there's a miscommunication in coverage somewhere. I don't know the call or anything like that. So once again, it still is a good, accurate throw in stride, but there was a lot of weird-ish things that happened on this play. I do like seeing Etienne hustle. This is just really good stuff right here. He's still in the play. He didn't just sit back here, I didn't get the ball. He gets a nice seal, and that seal is what allowed Lovett to get to the sideline and get out of bounds. So it's some good stuff. All right, so now we get to here, and this is a top 5 spring game throw by any quarterback in any spring game you will see. This is why Carson Beck is more than likely the real deal and not just a product of his environment. So, obviously, I'm just going to let this play out. It's breathtaking, honestly. He's not having the absolute best day in the world. Protection here is really good. And Rara Thomas gets a step on the DB out here, Everett. look at where this ball is located on an absolute line with a ton of zip. Look at that ball location. Goodness me. I mean, in stride, game on the line. And Jackson's able to wrestle him out of bounds. Only thing here for Rara Thomas is in this spot, with the game on the line, obviously the clock's going to stop to move the chain some. You want to try your best and get out of bounds as quickly as you can. Is the ref calling that out of bounds? All right, here we go. Once again, got to find a way to get it done if you're Carson Beck. You just do. And, man, this was a really tough play to evaluate. It really, really, really is. Of course, the red zone is where everything is just compressed. Safety doesn't have to worry about anything being beat over the top. So you could just tell that Carson Beck starts off looking at the safety and works back to Lucky. This would obviously be Brock Bowers more often than not. Throws us some pretty good anticipation right here to Lucky. This is a good job by Jackson, seeing that that's where Beck was wanting to go with the football. Lucky's not able to generate any separation. Is that pass interference right there? It just depends on how much the ref wants to call hooking that arm right there. That ball is right on the money, though. And Jackson, of course, can't blow him up because it's just the spring game. So, yeah, you know, you're going to look for that. If it's going to be Delp or it's going to be Lucky, who could generate the most separation on those in-breakers. So you probably could tell I'm not really a Georgia fan, but I love watching them play. You're looking at some of the film studies I've done in the past. If you're interested in watching those, I highly recommend you check them out. And if you would like a Gunnar Stockton film study from the spring game or more Carson Beck throws, I will happily do that. But what's very interesting is this one stat, okay? Carson Beck threw 46 times during this spring game. And part of it is because Georgia only had 2 scholarship quarterbacks available as Ryan Puglisi was hurt. They did just get Jaden Rashada, but obviously he's not, part of the spring picture here. But as you'll see, most quarterbacks just do not play this much in the spring game. So I actually like that from a Georgia perspective because Carson Beck, who I obviously think is really, really, really good, struggled. This Georgia defense, Mikael Williams had a ridiculous interception in this game. This Georgia defense looked really, really, really good in this game. But overall, my thoughts on Carson Beck have not changed. Even though there were some rough moments from him in the spring game, and there are some concerns on some of the batted passes, I thought that was kind of strange. The guy's still the real deal. Where I'm a little worried, though, is this Georgia wide receiver room. I think this is a wide receiver room that's talented, but I think it's just a bunch of wide receiver 2s and no real wide receiver 1. This is a ridiculous catch right here by Lovett, a ridiculous throw, pro throw type of catch here. And to hold on through it while getting destroyed through the fence is absolutely ridiculous. I think Carson Beck's ball placement is so good that he'll be able to overcome it if the protection for Georgia still remains elite. And not having Cedric Van Pran's going to hurt next year, but still, this team is absolutely positively stacked. And I still like them a lot going into next year, even though this will be by far the most difficult schedule of the Kirby Smart championship era. All right, so we'll give you this angle, but let me know if I'm being too critical of this Georgia wide receiver room. I don't know if I see just that bona fide alpha. Maybe no Ladd McConkey, maybe no Brock Bowers, no Rosamie Jackson. Maybe I'm overrating that, but man, look at this catch. This is absolutely ridiculous. Coverage is really good. Ball placement's really good as well. Normally, you want this ball to be higher, or you want it to be kind of back shouldery to where only he can get, especially if the DB's back is going to remain turned to him. It's impossible to know that as QB, but man, that is a ridiculous, ridiculous catch by Lovett. But maybe I'm too skeptical of Dominic Lovett. Maybe he is, the next great thing at Georgia, but I could totally be wrong on that. So let me know what you guys think down below. Some more Georgia videos will be floating in your face. And if you want me to do more from the spring game, comment down below. It is Power Hour SEC. Boom. Kind of dangerous to just have like a fence like that. That could have gotten ugly. And tonight, we're doing wings. Let's go.